Oh, Digimon. For many years, I've loved this franchise. And as I've grown up throughout my life, I'd always have this strange on and again, off again relationship with Digimon. I would jump in, see what they were up to, love it, and then fall back out. Rinse and repeat. But I always told myself, if Digimon could ever figure out a good card game, I would go all in. And wouldn't you know it, Bandai did it. They made an incredible card game. And so begun my journey to completing a Digimon Master Playset. So what do I mean by a Master Playset? So for myself, I'm going for 4 copies of the regular art and 1 copy of the alternate art if it has any. So essentially, I'm just going for 4 copies of every card. 4 copies of the regular art and an alternate art. So today we're going to start with BT1 New Evolution. Now, as an English player, I never actually got to experience BT1 as a base set. We got Special Release Booster 1.0, which was basically the majority of base set 1 with some base set 2 and then some base set 3 just kind of sprinkled in. Funny thing is, they have freaking Shine Greymon on the box, but he's not actually in the set. So dumb. But even though I've never actually experienced BT1 as its base set, I have gotten very familiar with this set. I adore it, I love it, and I just can't wait to show you guys just how awesome I think it really is. It's one of my favorite sets, and arguably has my favorite card in the entire card game. But we'll get to this later. Cards were so hard to find when this game first came out, at least here in Canada, that I even started playing with proxies first. I'm sure many of you did the exact same thing. Man, doesn't it just take you back? So why don't we begin my Master Playset journey and go through my overview of BT1 New Evolution. And real quick, before we get started, I just want to let you guys know, my master set isn't 100% complete. I'm still missing a few copies of a couple cards, and I'm missing a couple alternate arts. But throughout my journey on YouTube, you will see me completing these sets, and I thought that would be really fun to document. So anyway, let's just dive right into BT1 New Evolution. So just like with every set, we start with our babies. And in this set, they gave us 2 babies of each color to really give us a nice collection of babies to choose from. But honestly, most of these babies aren't really worth it anymore. So let's start with Yokomon. So Yokomon says, when attacking, when you attack an opponent's Digimon, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for the turn. So not a very good card. As time has gone on, Red doesn't really care for piercing as much as Bandai may have wanted it to in the beginning. So it's a bad card, just don't play it. If you need a red baby in this set, this is the one to go to. The Betomon. So it says your turn, while this Digimon has piercing, it gets plus 2000. So there are 2 decent red cards in this set that have piercing, so you're just giving them an extra buff. If you're running red, this is probably the baby you want to run. But again, it's just a baby that's been power crept out of the game. Now we're on to blue, and here's Upamon, and Upamon's actually a really good baby. Omnimon still gets played to this day. Omnimon says, when attacking once per turn, if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, trigger, draw 1. As you can see, he just draws you cards, and draw power is always super useful in any card game. So we got 4 of him. And then I got his anniversary box topper back in BT6. Really pretty card. We got Crabmon here. This is before Crabmon even officially showed up in the game. That's really nice. Next we have Wanyamon. And Wanyamon says, your turn. While your opponent has 2 or more Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. And again, this card is just, it's alright. Maybe with Blue Hybrid, it could see some play, but you're not really going to be relying on this, and Upamon is 100% better than this card, and Upamon's going to trigger off far more than this guy. But he's cute. So now we're into yellow, and here we have Kearomon. So it says, your turn, while you have 6 or more security cards, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. And even back in BT1, you weren't going to have 6 security, at least not even long enough to justify having this baby. It's an early concept for yellow, and the only real deck I could see a place for it is in maybe security control. But look at that art, it's so adorable. So next we have Cupimon, which is the yellow baby that you'd probably be running in BT1. He says, when attacking, if you have 5 or more security cards, trigger draw 1. So again, draw power is just better. You're not going to worry too much about buffing. So you want to get your pieces faster than you want to buff your Digimon, because what Digimon are you going to buff if you don't actually have your pieces, right? So that's the yellow babies. Next we have the green. And here is Tamer. He says, when attacking, if you Digivolve this turn, the Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for the turn. So just like with the yellow, this is just an early green concept card, and I don't think it's very good. The fact that you basically are paying memory to get 1000 DP boost is just not worth it. Don't run this card. There's a better green card in this set. And our final baby, Frymon. He says, your turn, while your opponent has 2 or more suspended Digimon in play, this Digimon gets plus 2000. And this is far more in line with what green wants to do. Green is really good at just suspending your opponent's Digimon. Even in BT1, there was cards that just focused on suspending your opponent's Digimon. So Frymon's actually pretty decent. And on top of that, if your opponent just swings with 2 of their Digimon, you get a buff for it. So yeah, Frymon's definitely the better pick of the green babies. But if we're going to talk about like in the modern format, there aren't many cards that you're going to want to be playing. There's already a ton of better babies. And nowadays, babies are mostly focused on archetypes. And having these simple generic stuff isn't as exciting as they used to be. So those are the babies of the set. There's 8 babies total, 2 for each color. And I think for a base set, they did pretty good. They gave each color kind of what they want to do. Red's all about deletion. Blue's all about source control and deleting sources. Yellow likes to do the security stuff. And then green's about suspending and digivolving. Which further down the line, they really do embrace these basic concepts. So overall, I think they did a pretty good job with the base set babies. So those are the babies. So just with every set, we start with the red cards. So here is Omnimon. He's a 2-cost rookie, 3k DP, 0-cost Digivolve. Pretty solid. 2-cost rookies are always good. And this artwork is just pretty simple. I appreciate it. So here's Agumon. He's a 3-cost, 2k DP, 0-cost Digivolve. He says, on play, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 Tamer card among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Interesting trivia about this dude. He's one of the few, if not the only rookie that lets you search the top 5 cards of your deck. Pretty cool. So here we have his alternate art. I love it. Looks so nice. And then we have his floral alternate art as well. Just looks really nice. So next we have Agumon Expert. He's a 3-cost, 1k DP, 0 the Digivolve. He has an on-play effect that says, return one of your Digimon cards with Agumon in its name from your recycle bin to your hand. So your trash used to be called recycle bin. So this card's pretty decent. You can add any Agumon in its name. So you can get Agumon Bond of Bravery, or you can even grab Agumon Export, or you can grab the purple Agumon from the fake Agumon from a future set. I can't remember which one it is. This card's awesome. I love his artwork. It's just fantastic. Overall, though, the card kind of sucks. You're not really going to be wanting to add exclusively Agumons to your hand. But hey, at least we have an option to search Agumons. But hey, at least we have an option to grab Agumons from our recycle bin. So here's Biomon. Biomon's a 3-cost, 2k DP, 0 to Digivolve. And it has an inheritance that says, when this Digimon is blocked, it gets plus 2000 DP. I really love the artwork in this card. But overall, I think this card is okay. So next, I believe, is our very first 5k rookie in the game. This is Muchomon. So he's a 3-cost, 5k, 1 to Digivolve, and he's just a vanilla rookie with 5k. Pretty decent, but not a rookie you're probably going to be running too often. So now we have our level 4s. Here's Kokatorimon. He's a 3-cost level 4. That's really nice. His 4k DP and it costs 2 to Digivolve. So really just pay 1 extra memory and just play this guy on your field. Pretty solid Digimon. This is actually one of my favorite cards in the game, and it's the only Kokatorimon we have so far. I would love to see more printed, but a 3-cost level 4 is really solid in my book. So next we have Greymon, and he's a 4-cost with 4k DP, and it costs 2 to Digivolve, and he has a very generic inheritance. It says, your turn, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. Really solid. Although, most people don't play this Greymon simply because we have Agumons that do the exact same thing. And you generally want these kinds of abilities on your level 3 because, especially with the starter decks, starter deck Greymon gives you security +1 and it's just so much better than this one. I will say, this Greymon has some of the best artwork I think any Greymon has gotten. Shoutouts to Tanamiso? Shoutouts to Tanamiso. Really great art. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So next we have one of my favorite cards. This is Tyrannomon. He's a 4 cost with 4000 DP, 2 to Digivolve, and he has jamming. So just a simple card. Just a simple Tyrannomon with jamming. But what really makes this card stand out for me is the artwork. Look at this thing. It's so pretty. Let's see. Who is this artwork? Kitsuki. Shout out to Kitsuki. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right. You did a fantastic job. This card's awesome. I would love to see alternate art for this thing. Alright, next we have Birdramon. It's a 4 cost, 4000 DP, 2 to Digivolve, and it has a really nice on-play effect that says one of your Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. At the time, I don't think this card really saw too much play, although you could just play this guy for 4 memory, give War Greymon or something a security +1, which could be really useful. But this card is going to really shine in BT11. There's going to be a nice new bird archetype, which will give him Rush. So on play, he gets Rush, and then you give him security attack +1 for 4 memory. It's going to be a good time. I love this card's artwork too. It's just fantastic. We got a few more level 4s. Here is Flarizamon. It's a 5 cost, 4k DP, 2 to Digivolve, and his skill says, your turn. While you have 3 or more memory, this Digimon gains security attack +1. It's kind of like paying 3 memory to have security attack +1, but at the same time it's not. You just have to swing with him before you spend that memory. Even back in the day, I don't think this card saw too much play. Its artwork is really the only thing that's really going for it. It looks really nice. Yeah, the effect isn't worth it. It's not worth having 3 memory on the board just to get this guy to have security +1 when you could literally just play Greymon from the starter deck and give your guy security attack +1. There's Sunrizamon. So here is their last level 4. It's Dark Tyrannomon. It's a 6 cost, 6000 DP, but only 1 to Digivolve, and that's really solid for level 4s. Other than that, he's just a vanilla, but a really good vanilla that helps get your stack built really fast and really cheap. And he looks really dope. This card did see play back in the day. And honestly, I could see it seeing a little bit of play even now. So now we're on to our level 5s. And here's Groundramon, a level 5 that costs 5 to play, has 6000 DP, and only 2 to Digivolve. He's a vanilla, but he's dirt cheap. You can pay 5 to play him and get to your level 6 for only 8 memory, which is not bad at all. Groundramon's also just really cool artwork. Digimon has some of the best artwork I've ever seen in a card game. And I don't just mean the card art, I mean the way the frame is designed to really make the card art pop. They're really well designed. So we got 4 of him. Next we have Metal Greymon. He's a 6 play cost, 7k DP with 3 to Digivolve. And he says, when attacking, gain 3 memory. At the end of turn, lose 3 memory. So he just has a built-in Gravity Crush. I mean, it's not the best ability, I think. You could Digivolve into him, swing to gain that memory, then Digivolve into, like, say, War Greymon or something to get your War Greymon, but you're still paying the 3 memory at the end of your turn. So at the end of the day, you're only paying 6 memory for a very minimal reward. Gravity Crush is probably just a better card in general, because you can just play it whenever you want, and it costs 0 to play. You don't have to Digivolve or attack with anything. So yeah, this card was already outclassed when it came out. So here's Gardramon, 7 cost, 7000 DP, 3 to Digivolve, and he has Piercing. This is also the first super rare in the set. Looks really fancy. He also has an inheritance that says, your turn. When this Digimon is blocked, trigger draw 1. And that's just better. Better than gaining plus 2000 DP. This card did not see much play. It's Piercing, so essentially it's just a vanilla level 5 with some inheritance. Piercing is so situational, especially for Red. Red can't suspend your opponent's Digimon that much. In fact, I don't think Red has any ability that just suspends your opponent's Digimon. Piercing in Red almost feels like a waste. Gardramon wasn't the best card. It wasn't good then, and it certainly isn't good now. Poor Gardramon. The artwork is just really nice. Next we have Skull Greymon. He's a 7 cost, 7000 DP, costs 3 to Digivolve, and he has a really decent on-play effect that says delete one of your opponent's Digimon with blocker. Back in the day, this card actually saw decent play. Nowadays, you'll never run it. There's so many like inheritances or just options or even just effects on the Digimon themselves that can get rid of blockers way easier than just paying 7 memory to delete a blocker. And remember, Gaia Force was out at the same time as this guy, and Gaia Force only cost 8 to delete any Digimon. Of course, you're bringing out a Digimon, which is pretty nice. It's nice to have a level 5 out and you can delete a Digimon with it. But it was really more just a tech card, and you only played it when you had nothing else to get rid of that really frustrating blocker. So Skull Greymon saw moderate play, but it was not a very important card for anyone's deck. And last but not least, we have Metal Tyrannomon. He's a 7 cost, 10k DP, that's pretty impressive, 3 to Digivolve, and it's just a vanilla. Just a vanilla guy with 10k DP. He's really just there to have a big buff dude before you can get into your level 6s. I don't know if he really saw too much play, but a simple vanilla for 3 costs, 10k, doesn't seem too bad to me. I just don't see him getting too much play anymore, especially nowadays. Now onto our level 6s. And of course, we're going to start with War Greymon. War Greymon's a 12 cost, 11k DP, 3 to Digivolve, and he has a really nice when Digivolving effect. It says, when Digivolving, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. Really solid. And then your turn, this Digimon doesn't activate security skills on option cards it checks. So this card negates all option cards in security. He's a really solid card and really good at deleting security. He even sees play to this day still. And just some classic artwork. I am unfortunately missing his alternate art. Otherwise, he would definitely be in here and I'd be showing him off completely. And last but not least, we have Breakdramon. Breakdramon has a 12 play cost, 11k DP, and 3 to Digivolve. And he has Piercing. And from what I said about Guardramon, Piercing just isn't the best with Red, especially in BT1. Red doesn't really care about attacking the Digimon as much as it cares about just straight up deleting the Digimon. So Piercing again on a level 6 red Digimon just isn't the best. Unfortunately, it's on a really cool Digimon, Breakdramon, that you probably want to play, but he's not going to get you anywhere. Just play War Greymon. It's the best level 6 red BT1 has to offer, and including Gaia Red starter decks. So those are the red cards of BT1. I think they're a pretty decent start, but as you can see, they were giving Piercing without anything else to help actually utilize Piercing. Some of these cards just feel useless. Guardramon and Breakdramon are basically vanillas. So you only have one level 6 that actually does something. And Metal Greymon is also trash. So you basically just have one level 5 and one level 6 that does anything. I mean, it's a weak selection. The rookies are solid. The level 4s are pretty solid. But the level 5s and 6s are pretty bad. You're only going to be running probably Skull Greymons and War Greymons. Other than that, you're going to be using starter deck cards. So that's just red. It had an interesting beginning. But you can tell it did have an identity. It really liked to delete security. There is a lot of security +1 stuff in the red cards. So there's not much else to say about red. MVPs really are just War Greymon. That's really the best card BT1 red has to offer. Everything else is just kind of been power cupped out. So that's red. And overall, I think they gave red a pretty decent first set of starting cards. Alright, blue time. So we're starting with Armadillomon. He's a 2 cost, 4k, 1 Digivolve, and he's just a generic vanilla rookie. 2 costs with 4k is pretty solid still, although it does cost 1 Digivolve, so I don't like paying the Digivolve for my rookies. I just don't. Next we have Elecmon, and Elecmon is an MVP. A 2 cost, 3k, 0 Digivolve. The artwork's nice, but this card used to be a staple in blue. 2 cost rookies are so good. And Elecmon was just a really great card. It really shined. Just play 2 memory, play him, and you could Digivolve onto him for 2 memory, potentially setting your opponent to 1 memory or 2 memory. Just really, really good. Especially when you could play him, Digivolve into a blocker. It was really good back in the day. Next we have Gabumon. He's a 3 cost. 0 Digivolve, 1k. He has a nice on-play effect that says trigger, draw 1 card. So Gabumon's pretty versatile. You could simply just Digivolve, draw a card, or you could just play him and draw a card. I really like Gabumon. He's a really good card, and I used to play him a lot back in the day. Here's his nice alternate art. With all the boys, all the babies. I love it. And then here's his floral alternate art. This looks really pretty. He's got that crest of friendship right on his necklace. He's blushing too. It's a great card. Love Gabumon. So next we have Gomamon, another one of my favorites. So he's a 3 cost, 0 Digivolve, 3000 DP, and he has one simple inheritance that says, on deletion, gain a memory. So Goemon's a pretty decent card, although I don't think he saw too much play. Relying on your Digimon to die, especially for blue to get any kind of effect off, doesn't really seem that productive. You don't really play much with the trash when it comes to blue cards. But Goemon's a good boy, and he's got his little fish buddies. Great card. Here's one of my favorites. This is Monmon. This is a really fun card to say. He's a 4 cost, 1 to Digivolve, 1000 DP, but he's got blocker. This is one of the first rookies with blocker, and they gave it to blue. Pretty interesting. That's Monmon. Although he did have blocker and he was a rookie, I don't think he saw much play at all, to be honest. And again, I hate paying to Digivolve my rookies, so I didn't really use them in my decks back in the day either. So those are all level 3s. Now onto our level 4s. So here's Frigimon. He's a 4 cost, 2 to Digivolve. He's got 4k DP, and he's got jamming. So during this time in 1.0 and in 1.5, Frigimon was living in his prime. This card was really fun back in the day, and even though he doesn't get too much play nowadays, I wouldn't put it past you if you want to throw him in your deck. So next we have Dolphmon. It's a 4 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 4k DP, just like Frigimon. No jamming, but it does have an inheritance that says, your turn. While your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. So Dolphmon's aged like fine milk. He's not very good, and even back in the day, he really wasn't that great to begin with. So next we have Ikakumon. He's a 5 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 5k. He has a pretty decent inheritance that says, this Digimon can't be blocked by your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. One of the first instances of a Digimon being unblockable. It's a really good inheritance because blue does like to just delete sources. And if your opponent decides to just drop a blocker down on the field, this guy can't be blocked. Solid card, pretty good for blue back in the day, although I don't really see it getting much play nowadays. This just effect doesn't really seem that relevant anymore. So here is Leomon. He's a 5k, 2 to Digivolve, 5000 DP, and of course he has an on deletion effect that says gain 2 memory. Leomon always dies, and this is just the start of it. Solid card, looks really great too. So next we have Garurumon. He has a 6 cost to play, 2 to Digivolve, 5k DP, and he has a really interesting on-play effect that says unsuspend one of your Digimon. So this card was part of a blue combo back in the day. Metal Garurumon had an effect that whenever it attacked, you could play a level 4 or lower from its sources. So you play this Garurumon, then you could unsuspend Metal Garurumon and go for another attack. So you know, a solid card for its time, but really doesn't see any play nowadays. So here's one of my favorites, Gorillamon. He's a 6 cost, 1 to Digivolve, 6000 DP, vanilla boy. He's 1 to Digivolve. 1 cost level 4s were so beautiful back in the day, and even now they're so good. 1 cost level 4s are fantastic. They're some of the best cards in the game. Being able to just Digivolve for nothing on your rookie, then go into a level 4 for 1, and then pay 3 to go into a level 5, which essentially paying 4 to go into level 5 is really awesome. This guy was an MVP back in the day, and I used him a lot in my blue decks. So next we got our level 5s. Here's Mazimon. He's a 5 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 6k DP. So having a level 5 that costs 2 to Digivolve is always good. So really he's just a vanilla that helps you get into your level 6s faster. And then also I've got his really cute alternate art. He looks like a teddy bear there. I love it. I love all those stuffies. They look like stuffies, aren't they? Beautiful. Here's Cerberusmon. He's a 6k, 3 to Digivolve, 6000 DP. And he says when attacking, once per turn, you may unsuspend this Digimon by trashing 3 cards in your hand. So this card didn't really get to see much play until future Cerberusmons came out. Because paying 3 memory to unsuspend your Digimon isn't really as exciting as basically just swinging, playing Garurumon, unsuspending Metal Garurumon. Still, this card isn't like a horrible card. If you have the memory, you can just go into another swing. But it's far better to just have an ability that unsuspends your guy instead of paying memory to do it. Artwork is sick though. Here's Garurumon. He's a 6 cost, 3 to Digivolve, 7k DP, and he says when attacking, gain 3 memory. At the end of your turn, lose 3 memory. So it's just Metal Greymon, but blue. And just like with Metal Greymon, it's not very good. You don't want to rely on just borrowing memory, you know? But hey, at least the card looks really cool. He's got his brass knuckles ready to punch you right in the face. Next we have Zudomon. The first super rare of blue. He's a 7 cost, 3 to Digivolve, 6k DP, and he has an on-play effect that says trigger, draw 2 cards. He also has an inheritance that says, when attacking, if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, gain 1 memory. So I can't really say if this card saw too much play back in the day, but paying some memory to draw 2 cards, especially with like the first set, was pretty decent. You got a big level 5 on the field, and you get to draw 2 cards. It's not bad. Plus, his inheritable wasn't bad either. However, nowadays this card does not see any play, and you'd probably just be laughed at. So if you drop this guy on the field. Now here is Loader Leomon. He's a 7 cost, 3 to Digivolve, 10k DP, so that's really nice. So he's blues level 5 with 10k DP. Other than that, he's just a generic vanilla. Loader Leomon also doesn't get too much play. I don't really think people throw him in their decks too often. You didn't see him get played back then, and you definitely won't be seeing him get played today. Now we're on to our level 6s. Here's Saber Leomon. So he's an 11 cost, 3 to Digivolve, and he has 10k DP. He says, when Digivolving, trash 4 Digivolution cards under one of your opponent's Digimon. So you probably won't want to use this card over Metal Garurumon. He's not a really useful card. When Digivolving, you're just trashing sources, and then he becomes a vanilla. Vanilla level 6 with only 10k DP. They didn't really give him much to work with. This card just sucks. So next we have Metal Garurumon. So he's a 12 cost, 3 to Digivolve, and 11k DP. He says, when attacking, play 1 level 4 lower Digimon card under this Digimon as another Digimon without paying its memory cost. So I like Metal Garurumon. This is a really cool card. Here's his alternate art. This is the first alternate art my brother ever pulled in Digimon. The first time we actually saw packs in a store and he got some packs, this is what he pulled. And he was nice enough to give it to me. I really, really like this card. It's beautiful. So that is our blue. I think overall blue has a little bit better cards than red, only because red's mostly just looking at War Greymon nowadays. Whereas with blue, you're still going to be looking at some of these cards like Electmon, Gorillamon, even Metal Garurumon could see some play. But then there's other cards like Cerberusmon who is starting to see some nice support. But overall, it's still the base set, and most of these cards aren't worth your time anymore. They just don't do enough, or when they just take too much setup to actually do what they want to do. So that's blue. I have a special place for blue in my heart. I first started with purple, but heavily gravitated towards blue, and now blue is my main color, and I have a lot of fond memories with all these cards here. And honestly, I can still see some of these cards being used to this day. There's still a lot of cheap level 4s and level 3s in this set that justifiably could be played today. All right, now we got yellow. So here's all the level 3s for yellow. So here's Sukaimon. It's 2 cost, 3k, 2 to Digivolve. And again, it's 2 cost rookie, so, you know, just really good card. 3k though, so nothing too special. Here's Kudamon. It's a 3 cost, 0 to Digivolve, 1k DP. It says, when attacking, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, trigger, draw 1 card. You know what? It's a decent card. It gets you some draw power, but at the same time, you're not really going to be focusing on using this card too much, because you're really going to be using this guy to Digivolve onto. Relying on one rookie to draw cards when you have 4 or less cards in your hand just seems really niche, and you probably aren't going to be in a situation where this guy really helps you. Next, we have Tinkermon. It's 3 costs, 0 to Digivolve, 3k DP, and it's just a basic, just a vanilla Digimon. Can't really say too much about her. There's Petermon that lets you play this card for free, but other than that, this card isn't very special. Nothing too special about it. Just some nice artwork though. Here we have Patamon. Patamon's a 3 cost, 0 to Digivolve, 2k DP, and he says, on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add all yellow Tamer cards among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. You're getting all Tamers from this guy. This guy is still super good. If Shine Greymon ever gets more support and becomes like a top tier deck, this card is definitely going to be seeing more play. And here I have an alternate art from the Tamer packs. From when you go to LGS and play and you get a tournament pack, you can pull this card out of one of them. So next we have Labramon. Labramon's a 3 cost, 0 to Digivolve, 1k DP, and has an inheritance that says, your turn. While an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0 DP, trigger, draw 1. So you know, this card's actually pretty good. Yellow looks to drop DP, and more often than not, when you're fighting yellow, your Digimon are going to die from getting to 0 DP. Having this effect in your inheritance will trigger off eventually. It's just something that yellow inherently does. So Labramon's not a bad card. It's actually a pretty decent card. Next we have Lealmon. It's a 3 cost, 0 to Digivolve, 4k DP, and it's just another vanilla. There's really nothing special to say about this card. It's just a simple 4k rookie. So yeah, there's our rookies for yellow. So now I have our level 4s, and here's a 3 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 4k DP. It's a level 4 that costs 3 to play. This is a really good card. There's not much else I can say that hasn't already been said about 3 cost level 4s, so yeah, definitely a good card. Repamon's awesome. So here we have Caesarmon or Caesarmon. He's a 4 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 4000 DP, and he's just got jamming. So a really solid level 4 for yellow. Although he probably doesn't see too much play. If you want to put jamming in your deck, this card's definitely the way to go. However, in modern formats like BT10, there's really no reason to be playing this guy. So here we have Darkmon. Darkmon is 4 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 4k DP, and it says, your turn. When you play a level 3 Digimon, if this Digimon is suspended, trigger draw 1. So again, another really niche effect that you probably won't find yourself really using. When it comes to yellow, the only real way you're going to have guys suspending is if you're swinging with them. So you're going to have to hope that this guy survives a battle. Then you play a level 3 and draw a card. You could also just Digivolve that level 3 onto your baby and draw a card anyway. So yeah, Dracmon seems pretty underwhelming, although I like the artwork. It's a pretty nice Digimon. Next we have Liamon. He's a 4 cost, 3 to Digivolve, interesting. 4k DP, and he says, when attacking, if you have 3 or more memory, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. So again, you have to swing with him in order to get the effect off first. You have to not spend that memory, and he costs 3 to Digivolve. This card just is not worth playing. I actually think this card's really bad. The only thing it has going for it is that it's a 4 cost level 4, and that's all it has going for it. Okay, I take that back. It actually looks really dope. He looks like a Final Fantasy character. All right, next we have Angemon. So he's a 5 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 3000 DP. He says, on play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. So Angemon's kind of bad. Paying 5 to do minus 3000 DP on an opponent's Digimon, it's not worth it. Magna Angemon costs 7 and you recover 1. So you're better off just doing that instead. This card feels kind of like filler. It doesn't even have an inheritance. What's the point in running this card in your deck? Even back in BT1, I just can't see this card being worth running. There's better option cards that do more minusing. Man, they did Angemon dirty in BT1. All right, next we got Petermon. He's a 5k, 2 to Digivolve, 5000 DP. He says, on play, you may play 1 Tinkermon from your hand or recycle bin without paying its memory cost. So, this card's actually kind of decent. 5k, you get 2 Digimon out from your hand or your trash. It's always a bonus playing from your trash because it kind of feels like you have a second hand. So yeah, Petermon, it's a decent Digimon, although probably not something you're really going to be relying on. It seems more like a super gimmicky card. That being said, 5 costs for 2 Digimon is still pretty decent. Now we're on to our level 5s, and we're starting with Sirenmon. So Sirenmon's a 5 cost, 2 to Digivolve, and 6000 DP. It's just a vanilla. But it's a 5 cost level 5, and that is just powerful. Being able to pay the same amount of memory for the level your Digimon is at is just really good. And anything under it is just an incredible bonus. So yeah, Sirenmon's a decent Digimon. Nothing too special. I don't really have much to say about it. Looks cute. I love all the musical notes. They look awesome. So next we have Chirinmon or Kirinmon. This is a 6 cost, 3 to Digivolve, 7k, and it says when attacking, gain 3 memory. At the end of the turn, lose 3 memory. So again, just another one of those gain 3 memory, lose 3 memory attacking. They're not worth playing, and I don't recommend you play this card. That's all I gotta say. So here's Piximon. It's a 6 cost, 3 to Digivolve, 9k DP, which is pretty decent. It's just a vanilla Digimon. Nothing too special about Piximon. It's just a 9k DP, which is, it's somewhat solid for a level 5. And here we have the crown jewel of yellow in BT1, Magna Angemon. Magna Angemon's still seeing play to this day. So he's a 7 cost, 3 to Digivolve, and he's got 6000 DP. So he says, on play, trigger, recovery 1. So as you can see, this card is very good. And his inheritance says, your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for every 3 cards in your security. So as you can see, this card is very good. It's still in demand today. And it's still going for a nice chunk of change. I don't know if this card will ever not be relevant. It's just so good. 7 cost, recover 1, and you get a level 5 on the field. Just a really solid card all around. And last but not least for our level 5s is Mistymon. So he's a 7k, 3 to Digivolve, 7000 DP, and it says, on play, 2 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 2000 DP for the turn. Already, this card's better than Angemon. Other than that, I don't really see a reason to play this card. We already looked at Magna Angemon. 7 cost to recover is better than just deleting 2 Digimon, at least for yellow. And when we get into our level 6s, you'll see why. Because you'll notice that some of our level 6s have really good minusing effects that you could literally just Digivolve onto your... Magna Angemon. So that's the level 5s. Let's jump right into level 6s. So here's Slash Angemon. He's an 11k, 3 to Digivolve, 8k DP. And like I said, he has, when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 8k DP for the turn. So it's so much better to play Magna Angemon, recover, then Digivolve into this guy and pop a Digimon. And potentially a pretty decent Digimon too, because minus 8k, especially back in BT1, was really solid. So that's Slash Angemon. I think he's a really good card and definitely one of the GOATs of BT1. So here's Seraphimon. He has a 12 play cost, 3 to Digivolve, 10k DP. He says, when Digivolving trigger, recover 1, then your turn. While you have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So again, you could play Magna Angemon and Digivolve into him to recover, and then you get security attack +1. Seraphimon was a pretty decent Digimon for his time, but he doesn't really see too much play nowadays. This is still the best Seraphimon in the game, and he's just fantastic art. Look at that thing. He's just so cool looking. So those are all the level 6s in yellow, and that's yellow. I think yellow, for the most part, yellow had some solid cards. It has some of the worst, I think, for yellow, and then some of the best cards for yellow. So yeah, yellow's an interesting color, and for BT1, it had a lot of growing pains to get through. But once BT2 and even BT3 came around, yellow was starting to be really good and starting to really work with its niche. And then don't even get me started on yellow hybrid. Ugh. So now let's move on to green. And green is a pretty cool color. So here's our rookies, and we're starting with Goblimon. Goblimon's a pretty cool Digimon. So he's a 2 cost, 0 to Digivolve. He has 3000 DP. Pretty simple and solid Digimon. Any 2 cost rookie is just good in my books. You can just simply play him for 2 memory and have a body on the board. So Goblimon is a really cool Digimon. Here's another 2 cost. However, he costs 1 to Digivolve, but he has 4k DP. Another solid rookie, I'd say. He's really just here for you to put him on the board and have a 4k rookie for you to swing with as soon as you can on the next turn, or Digivolve into level 4 for 1 memory. For 3 memory total. That's a pretty solid turn. And cute art. Look at all the cute little baby mushrooms around him. I love it. Here's Tentomon. He's a 3 cost, 0 Digivolve, 2k DP, and he has an inheritance that says, when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. Overall, I'd say it's a pretty decent card. Nothing too amazing about him, but being able to suspend just when attacking, it's not even once per turn, is pretty nice. However, being limited to just a 3000k DP dude, you might not be hitting that every turn. But still, it's nice to have the option, especially with green. Green likes to suspend and pop off when suspending Digimon. And he's cool. Use an electroshocker on you. The classic art in BT1 is just I really appreciate it. It's really nice. There's a store participant alternate art. I got 2 of him. Climbing a tree. This artwork is so good. So gorgeous. So next we have Palmon. And Palmon's a 3 cost, 0 to Digivolve, 1k DP. And Palmon has an on-play effect that says, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 level 4 a Digimon card among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So I don't know how I feel about Palmon. It's super specific. But at the same time, I mean, being able to search a level 4 can be kind of decent. Especially with green, because some of the level 4s really aren't that bad, and a lot of level 4s do cost 1 to Digivolve, so being able to just get a level 4 out really fast can be nice. However, it's just the top 3 cards, and you're specifically looking for a level 4, so it's not the best searcher. It's the worst rookie searcher in BT1 for sure, but at least green has something, I guess. Look how cute Palmon is, running around the fields. Cute card. So here's our last rookie. It's Kokuomon. So Kokuomon costs 4 to play, 1 to Digivolve, and he has 2k DP. So you can see he's an expensive card, and he has an inheritance that says, your turn, when this Digimon is level 6 or higher, it gains security attack +1. So I don't know if this card's really worth it. I've tried to use it in decks before, and it doesn't really pop off too often. It's just an expensive rookie. You might want to just run 1 in your deck if you're going to run anything like this guy. Because like I said, he only works if you have a level 6 or higher out, and that just feels really restricted. He just costs too much. He should have cost 0, to be honest. He should have cost 0 to Digivolve, 3 to on play. At least he looks cool. Playing with electricity. He is a really cool Digimon. I do really like him. I just have mixed feelings about this card. Alright, on to the level 4s now. We're starting with Ogremon. So he's a 4 cost, 2 to Digivolve. He has 4k. And jamming. So 4 cost level 4s are always great to have, and just jamming is really nice. He's basically just Frigimon and Tyrannomon but green, and we love that. So as you can see, every color has a 4 cost jammer, level 4. I really like this card, and I love that artwork. Again, the classic BT1 art is just so nice, so great to appreciate. Next we have Kawagamon. He's another 4-cost, 2 to Digivolve, 4K, level 4. And he has an on-play effect to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So this card's actually pretty decent. You're getting a level 4 on the board, and you get to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So say you have someone with piercing out already, you can just pop him out and then attack one of your opponent's suspended Digimon. He's decent for board control, especially in early game, but you're not really going to rely on him in late game. I would say maybe run 2 of him in your deck, but definitely a card that you should look at, especially in your BT1 stuff. He's a really cool card. Look at this art too. About to kill Palmon. Sheesh. Man, this card's really cool. I'd say overall it's a pretty good card. Now here's a really good level 4. It's 4 to play or 1 to Digivolve, and it has 6k DP. This is just a powerful level 4, and for a while this card was used in green. It's just a really good card. Having 6k DP is really solid, but that 1 to Digivolve is where it's really at. Green loves the cheap evolutions, and this guy for a long time fit that role. The only reason Green doesn't play Vegemon as often anymore is because he has been replaced with basically a newer version of him, which is better effects now. And look at that art. He's doing something with some poison or something. He's a cool guy. He's crazy. Vegemon. Here's a classic blocker. Woodmon. He's 5 to play, 2 to Digivolve, he has 6k DP. And yeah, he's a blocker. And when attacking, lose 2 memory, which was pretty standard for blockers back in the day. Woodmon's just a classic blocker. I really like him. And when I think about like blockers, Woodmon does come to mind. He's just a classic blocker. Really cool. One of the only few blockers that's actually in the set. And that's mostly because Green did not have a starter deck with the original 3. It had to wait till the next wave of starter decks. This artwork is just awesome. I love Woodmon. Really cool Digimon. Now here's Kabuterimon. He's 6 to play, but only 1 to Digivolve. He has 5k DP. And he has an inheritance that says, your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for every suspended Digimon your opponent has. So overall, this card is really great. Your stack gets buffed just for your opponent swinging. I mean, that's just pretty solid. If you attack with this guy in your stack and your opponent decides to block, suddenly you just get plus 1000 DP. So overall, I think this is a really good card. And look at that artwork, he's so cool. He's a real cool bug boy. Decent card all around, really solid. Next we have Togemon. Togemon's 6 to play, 2 to Digivolve, 5k DP. He has a when Digivolving effect that says, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 level 5 or higher Digimon card among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So at least it's a level 5 or higher. Other than that, it's kind of restricted. You ruin the top 3 cards and you can only add 1 of 2 different types of levels. So I don't know if this effect is really that great. Level 5 and 6s, you're going to be running the least amount in your decks. So only being able to grab one of those can be a little lackluster because you're going to be whiffing probably. But at the same time, being able to search those cards can be really helpful because you're also only running the least amount of those Digimon in your deck. So I don't know, I kind of go back and forth about how I feel about this card. It's decent overall, but at the same time, it's pretty limited. However, I love the artwork, and I love Togemon, so this card for me gets a solid A+. It's a really nice card. So now we're on to our level 5s. And we're going to start off with Digitamamon, who's 6 to play, 3 to Digivolve, 7k DP. And he has one attacking effect that says, gain 3 memory at the end of your turn, lose 3 memory. So, you know, just another one of those memory level 5s that kind of suck and you should not be running in your deck. However, Digitamamon's a really cool Digimon, and he's just a really cool concept. He's a Digi-Egg that became evil and is trying to kill you now. Blah. Next we have Mega Kabuterimon. He has a 7 cost, 2 to Digivolve, 6k DP, and he has a 1 attacking inheritance that says, if your opponent has 2 or more suspended Digimon, gain 1 memory. So when we jump into the level 6s, you'll see that all these inheritances that deal with suspending, and you'll be gaining actual decent amount of memory with all your inheritances. As you can see, Green likes to deal with all the suspending and all that kind of stuff. And with the level 6s, this card's actually pretty good. For BT1, Green actually has a pretty decent combo. I wouldn't say this card's bad, and I wouldn't say this card's good. It just fits the niche that Green was trying to fill in BT1. Here's his alternate art. which is really cool. He's charging right at you. Pretty cool. Next we have a Coolmon. He's 7 to play, 2 to Digivolve, 6k DP, and he has an inheritance that says, your turn. When this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, gain 1 memory. So again, green also likes to delete Digimon, and then you're gaining memory for it. The level 6s in green for BT1 also have a lot of piercing, so you know they kind of mesh together with all that killing, and getting memory just by attacking and deleting a Digimon can be kind of helpful. His artwork though is so cool. The sunset in the background coming in for a swing. Looks like, is that Mega Kabuterimon maybe? Very cool. Really cool card. Here's a silly fun card. Jagomon. He has 7 to play, 3 to Digivolve. He has 7k DP. His one attacking effect is pretty fun though. It says, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You can Digivolve this card into one level 6 green Digimon card among them without paying its memory cost. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So you swing with him and you can Digivolve into a level 6 and you don't even pay for the Digivolution cost, which is really cool. So you could end up having a big level 6 attacking instead of Jagomon. But at the same time, he could also just whiff. So it's just, green gotcha is fun, but at the same time, it's so gimmicky. This card though, you know, it's just fun. I think everybody should try playing green gotcha. It's just a really silly deck idea. You can look at Jagomon. He's got a really fun artwork here too. Some classic BT1 hanging out in the digital world. See another one back there. It's nice. And last but not least, we got Lilymon. And Lilymon, she's a 7 play cost, 2 to Digivolve. She has 6k DP. And she also has an inheritance that says, when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon without blocker. That's you know, she's okay without blocker. I mean, at least. I mean, you're targeting someone without blocker. I mean, you could have at least let you suspend a blocker so that when you're attacking, you could suspend that blocker. But, no, I mean, you could suspend their boss Digimon, or you could even suspend, say, some little rookie or level 4 or something you could easily delete with another Digimon. It still feels a little situational. Would have been nice if it was just to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. But you will probably suspend something with her effect because your opponent will more than likely not have a blocker out in the field. More likely than they will have a blocker. And yeah, that's a pretty card. So next we have our level 6s. Here we're starting with a bang. Tamer. So Tamer costs 10 to play, but only 2 to Digivolve. And he's got 12k DP. With the right stack, this guy could potentially be as strong as Omnimon. And sure, he's only vanilla, but he costs 2 to Digivolve or 10 to play. He's super cheap. He's a really, really cheap level 6. And he's got 12k DP. That is power. This guy is a powerful guy. And look at his artwork. He's just a really, really cool guy. Tamer's pretty cool Digimon. Especially when you're playing with BT1, do not sleep on Tamer. He's a strong dude. Definitely worth looking at. Next, we have Hercules Kabuterimon. He's a 12 cost, 3 to Digivolve. He only has 10k DP. But he also has piercing. And end of attack twice per turn. You can unsuspend this Digimon by decreasing your memory by 3. Basically, pay 3 memory to unsuspend him twice per turn. And as you recall from some of the inheritances we've had, you can be gaining memory by swinging, by doing all the right checks and swingings and stuff like that. With the right stack, you can be gaining memory just by swinging with this guy. So it makes it a little easier, but at the same time, 3 memory to unsuspend him just feels steep. To have 6 memory to really pop off with this guy can feel really expensive. But if you're able to just pay that 3 extra memory to get that extra check and win the game, it can be really helpful. And you know, he's a decent Digimon. Overall, I don't know, I don't hate him, but I don't love him. Not the best, but not the worst green card in BT1. Next we have Rosemon. Rosemon costs 12 to play, 3 to Digivolve, and she has 11k DP. And then she says, opponent's turn. When an opponent's Digimon attacks a player, if this Digimon is suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So, you know, it's a decent card. I wouldn't really rely on her as your boss character. Probably just run like 1 of her in your deck that has a little tech, maybe 2 just to be a little cheesy. But say like you have her on the field, you attack with her, she survives, goes to your opponent's turn, then your opponent wants to attack with a Digimon. Now they have to suspend an extra Digimon just to attack, which can feel really cheeky. But like I said, you're not going to rely on her too much. Green has an interesting variety of level 6s that most of the time you're not going to rely on just one. You're going to probably run a variety of level 6s. Okay, that's kind of what green does. I love all the flowers that are flying all around. Fancy card. And our last level 6, Grand Kawagamon. So he costs 13 to play, which is pretty ridiculous. 4 to Digivolve, and he has 11k DP. He's also got Piercing, and then it says your turn. This Digimon gets plus 4,000 DP. So I'd say the main role this card fits is being a counter to Omnimon. Because with your stack, this guy's going to probably have more than 15k on your turn. So you can either swing over Omnimon with Piercing, or you can go into security and not worry about checking Omnimon. This card really did help Green deal with Omnimon, but it's also just so limited with what it can do. At the end of the day, it is a 14k with Piercing, which feels incredible. But on your opponent's turn, it is 11k, and they can easily, Omnimon could easily swing into it, or any other level 6 could potentially easily just swing into it. So this card's almost like a glass cannon. I mean, it's cool, but it's also not amazing. Here's his alternate art. His alternate art actually looks really cool. So yeah, that's Green. I think Green overall was pretty solid in BT1. As time has progressed, suspending has really become a gimmick in Green. And especially now with Blue Omnimon, and at EX3 it's going to get some crazy support, which Green is only going to make suspending all the better now. So speaking of Omnimon, next we have Omnimon. He's the only white card in the game. Omnimon is 15 to play. He costs 6 to Digivolve on a red or a green Digimon, and he has a 15k DP. Then he has a when Digivolving effect that says choose one of your opponent's Digimon, delete all of your opponent's Digimon that share the same name with it. So it just wipes the board. It's a really solid board wipe there. Then he says, when attacking, you can unsuspend this Digimon by returning one of this Digimon's level 6 Digivolution cards to your hand. So not only does he let you recycle your level 6s, he also gets to unsuspend himself and go for more attacks. So back in the day, this was probably the best card in the game. You could build a red or a blue Omnimon deck, and the whole goal was really just to rush out Omnimon. He's also just one of my favorite cards in the game. He's just really cool looking. Look at the artwork is so cool. I think they did a really solid job with the first Omnimon in the card game. And I'm sure some of you have guessed it, but this is my favorite card in all of Digimon so far. It's the alternate art Omnimon, at least the one that I own. If I ever get the Ghost Omnimon, that will probably end up being my favorite card. But just look at him. Look how gorgeous he is. This was the chase card of the set. He's just amazing. And the artwork is just perfect. Really solid for an alternate art and for Omnimon. Just really knocked it out of the park with this one. This is a perfect Digimon card. I absolutely love it. And he was hiding the bonus pack. So why don't we just open it? This is before I open it, real quick. This is a special release booster 1.5. So it's not 1.0. I don't have a 1.0 pack on me at the moment. I'm hoping next year that I'll be able to get a box and open it up. It'll be a fun January video. Anyway, why don't we just dive right in? Treat. I love opening these older sets. And there's always some decent cards that you can pull. Alright, so we have Vmon. Jewel Beamon. Nice. Lavorvomon. It's really cool. Akunimon. Or Arukenimon. Akunimon. Look at her face. Ooh, Gazimon. That's a great pull. Gazimon's a good card. All turns, your opponent can't gain memory except with Tamer effects. Oh, we got the Bifrost. It's cool. Ooh, here we got Candlemon. It's a 2-cost rookie. We got Vikemon. So yeah, you can see with oh, this is a BT2 card. But with 1.0, it was mostly BT1 and BT2 cards, and then 1.5 sets were mostly BT3 with some BT2 and some BT1 sprinkled in. That's cool. Here's Goldramon. Nice. Oh, a Delicate Plan. The mistranslated one. Could you imagine if you just didn't activate any security effects? This card would be broken. Alright. First rare is Rise Greymon. Very cool. It's a cool card. And, ooh, Blitzgreymon. Nice. It's a really cool Digimon. It's got piercing, he digivolves. Digivolves from red and black. It's really cool. Solid card. Here's the index card, memory markers. Nice. What a treat. Maybe I can get a box of 1.5 too. That'd be awesome. All right, next we have our Tamers. And we're starting with red. And we're starting with Tai. Tai is a 4 cost. And Tai is a memory tamer. So that means, he says, at the start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3. So you'll always have 3 memory at the start of your turn with him on the board. Memory tamers is really valuable. He also says, your turn. All of your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. He's a really solid card. Giving your Digimon extra checks just for having the sources under them. Getting your memory to 3 at the start of your turn. And he plays himself from security. Really good card. Tai is also the only non-secret rare that I'm missing an actual playset of. I only have 2 regular Tais, but it's because he's expensive and I just haven't bought him yet. However, I have 2 of his alternate art, so I do have a playset. Here's his regular art. Looks really cool. And then his box topper looks really nice. So next we have Matt. Matt's also a 4 cost. He's also a memory tamer, so he sets you memory to 3. He says, your turn. When you play a blue Digimon, you can suspend this tamer to trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. And then he also has a security effect that plays this card without paying his memory cost, just like Tai. So, you know, he's a decent card. He's not amazing. Being able to trash sources, though, is pretty solid. I mean, blue likes to do that. And in BT1, with the limited resources of being able to trash, I mean, having a tamer built in to do it was pretty solid for the day. Overall, he's a decent tamer, but there's really nothing special about him. So next we have the best tamer in the set is TK. So he's also 4 costs to play, and he's also a memory tamer, so he sets you to 3 at the start of your turn. And he has an on-play effect that says, look at your security stack, then reveal 1 card in it and add it to your hand. If that card is yellow, trigger recovery 1. He lets you look at your security, take a card out of it, and lets you recover 1. You can get an idea of what's in your security. You can decide what to keep in it, what to take out of it. And then if you're taking a yellow card out, which you probably are because you're probably just going to be running yellow, then you get to recover 1, which is just really solid. And just like every tamer in the set, he plays himself from the security. Overall, this is the best tamer in the set, hands down. I don't have his box topper, but I do have his LGS alternate art tournament pack thing. It's really nice. This card still see play to this day. And even though he's not as good as he used to be, I still think he's a really great card. TK is still MVP in my eyes. And next we have Izzy, which is the worst tamer in the set. I mean, he only costs 2 to Digivolve, sure, but here's his effect. He says, main, if you have a level 5 or higher Digimon card in play, you can suspend this tamer to reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a Digimon card, add it to your hand, otherwise place it at the bottom of your deck. And of course, he plays himself from the security. So this card can whiff easily. Say you suspend him, and you reveal a card that isn't a Digimon, but it's a card that you might need. Now it's going to the bottom of your deck. Even in BT1, nobody ran this card. There was already a better green card in the set. Poor Izzy just didn't get anything that he deserved. Here's his box topper. It's pretty cool. Yeah, they really did Izzy dirty in this set. And now for the actual good tamer in the set, Mimi. So Mimi costs 4. She's also a memory tamer, so it sets you to 3. And she can play herself from the security. And what really sets Mimi apart, and even to this day, she's still played to this day, is her main effect. So it says, if you have a level 5 or higher Digimon in play, you can suspend this tamer to hatch 1 Digi-A card in an empty space in your breeding area. Or move 1 level 3 or higher Digimon from your breeding area to your battle area. She allows you to set up for your next turn, or she can bring out a Digimon from your breeding area, and you can use that Digimon to attack for the game. In a way, she has the early gimmicky attack stuff of a hybrid, because the breeding area isn't affected by anything. So your opponent can't delete anything in your breeding area. So if you have your big boss dude, your opponent has 1 security left, you can suspend her to bring out your level 3 or whatever in your breeding area, swing with your boss. Now your opponent's down to 0 memory. You can then now swing with that Digimon. And the reason you can do that is because Digimon in the breeding area, when you bring them out of the breeding area, they don't have summoning sickness. You know, they're not being played, so they can attack the turn that they come out. Even if you hatch that egg that turn. Mimi is a really wild card and is just getting better and better with each set. Unfortunately, I don't have a box topper. Just haven't got it yet. Mimi is just a really cool card. I really like her concept. They really just knocked out of the park with this one. So that's our Tamers. I think they did a pretty solid job with the Tamers. For the most part, 3 out of the 5 Tamers introduced in the first set are still being played to this day. They did a really solid job with the Tamers in BT1. And now we've got our option cards. And they introduced quite a bit of option cards for each color of the set, which, you know, they had to. You know, a lot of them were pretty interesting, serving niche roles for their color at the time. And, of course, none of them really see any play today. But that doesn't mean there's still a few hidden gems laying within these option cards. So here we have Gravity Crush. It costs 0 to play. It says main, gain 2 memory. At end of turn, lose 2 memory. So players have been messing around with this card since it's been introduced. And even now to this day, you can still see it occasionally being thrown into decks. It's a pretty good way to extend your last turn and get that finishing attack out and just win the game. It's got some cool art too. So overall, I think Gravity Crush is a decent card. It just doesn't really find its niche being needed too often. Here we have Scrap Claw. It costs 3 to play. It says main, one of your Digimon gains piercing for the turn. Yeah, you know, it's a decent card. It costs 3 to just give your guy piercing. There's nothing special about that. If this card was printed today, it would probably cost 1, and there would probably even be a way to make it so you can play it for free. So even when it first came out, this card was not good. So here's Nuclear Laser. It costs 3 to play, and it says main, trigger, draw 2 cards. Then, one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. You know, this card's actually pretty decent. If it was printed today, it'd probably be a 2 cost. Or it would be a 3 cost with a way to reduce it to a 1 cost even. But you know, overall, I think it's pretty solid. You're drawing 2 cards and then you're buffing one of your Digimon. The only downside is it does not have a security effect. However, this card doesn't see too much play now. There's a lot of cards that do let you draw, especially with red. And you can also just delete Digimon as well. Overall, I do think it's a decent card. I do think it can see itself having some play. But the 3 cost does feel a little steep, which is kind of funny to think about. Next we have Great Tornado, so it's a 3 cost, and it says main, one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP and security attack plus 1. Then it has an inheritance that says add this card to your hand. Back in the day, this card was pretty solid, giving your guy plus 2k and security plus 1, like buffing your Omnimon and making sure that it will not die in security was really cheesy. But also giving this to like War Greymon and buffing him up so that he doesn't die from anything in security was also just a really solid play. Great Tornado was a pretty decent card for its time, but it really just does not see play today. 3 costs nowadays for options is just too much. Most option cards that fill this card's role usually cost about 1 to 2 memory these days. Next we have Oblivion Bird. So he costs 5 and it says main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with blocker. So just deleted a blocker. It also activated in security. And you know, it's a decent card. Being able to just delete a blocker is nice. But Red also had other option cards that let you just delete any Digimon. So paying 5 memory to just delete a blocker didn't really feel that efficient. It just felt expensive and very limited for what you can do with the card. Card art is really cool though. Lastly for Red we have Brave Shield. Brave Shield costs 5. It says main, unsuspend one of your Digimon. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, that Digimon gains blocker. And then it has a security effect that says unsuspend one of your Digimon. That Digimon gains blocker until the end of the turn, which is basically just the same thing. So paying 5 memory to give your Digimon blocker it's just pricey. Even for the day, it was just too expensive. This card probably didn't see too much play. I've never considered using this card, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's ever done this. This card really never crosses my mind. It's just too expensive, and even for a security effect, it's just not worth it. This alternate art, though, looks really awesome. I love the crest. War Greymon just looks so cool. Now we have blue. So here's Mad Dog Fire. It costs 1. It says, main, one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn, and then security trigger, draw 2 cards. Then, add this card to your owner's hand. So even now you're seeing 1 cost option cards are just the way to go. Being able to just buff your guy with 3k DP for 1 memory is actually pretty solid. Especially with blue, because you could have those hammer sparks, and this guy could basically cost 0 to play. And then in security, being able to just draw a card, and then add it to your hand, is just an overall decent card. For BT1, it's a solid blue card. But at the same time, you're probably going to be running maybe 1 of this card in your deck. Here's Boring Storm, and it's also a 1 cost. It says trigger, draw 1, and then security says trigger, draw 2. So it's just a card that draws you cards. You're not really going to be hurting with draw power in Digimon. You're probably always going to be drawing a lot, especially with Digivolving. So this card really wasn't useful even when it first came out. Artwork is cool though, and the name is pretty funny. Next we have V Nova Blast. So this costs 2, and it says one of your Digimon gains jamming for the turn. Then its security effect says add this card to its owner's hand. So as you can see, they already have 2-cost option cards in BT1 that buffs your Digimon. I think they were just too afraid to give Red the cheaper option cards because they were afraid of security attack being too OP. But anyway, giving any of your Digimon jamming for 2 memory is actually pretty solid, especially in BT1. This card was pretty decent. You'd probably run like 2 of them. And the security allowing it to add it to your hand is just really nice, which means you're always going to be seeing this card. And that artwork is just so freaking cool. Man, I love it. Next we have Heart's Attack. Heart's Attack costs 3, and it says, main, trash all Digivolution cards under one of your opponent's Digimon. This card's noob bait, and it sucks. Don't play this card. 3 memory to trash all sources under one of your Digimon. 0 security effect. Nah, it's just not worth it. Just don't play this card. This card just sucks. It's just cute. Heart's Attack is a cute name. And of course, you know, Manzimon's just a cool Digimon. But yeah, this card sucks. Don't play it. And here's Grace Cross Freezer. It costs 4, and so it says main. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, their Digimon with no Digivolution cards can't attack. It also has a security effect that says your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards can't attack for the turn. It's a decent card. It costs 4 though, which can be kind of expensive. But if your opponent doesn't have any sources on their Digimon, and you just need to keep yourself alive, you can just play this card and stun all your opponent's Digimon without sources for the turn. Of course, your opponent can literally just Digivolve that Digimon and then it can attack. So your opponent could easily avoid this card. It's too expensive, and I would say just don't run this card as well. It's just not very good. Next we have Howling Crusher. It's 7 cost, and it says main, trash all Digivolution cards under all of your opponent's Digimon. It also has a security effect that says activates cards main effect. Again, this card feels like noob bait. It seems really good, it seems really cool, but I don't think it's very good. It does feel like more of a one-of type card. You're not going to rely on this card at all. Most of blue just inherently has trash sourcing built into it, so you don't really need to rely on a card to trash all sources on your opponent's Digimon. It costs 7 and it can be pretty pricey. Being able to trigger insecurity means that under very certain situations, you could potentially stun your opponent's entire board with having this card revealed in the security. But that will never happen. So just don't rely on this card. Don't even play this card. It's just not worth it. If you really need to, get this alternate art card and run this one. And that's it. Just one. Just one copy. Other than that, you shouldn't be running this card. Look how beautiful it is, though. It's gorgeous. So now we've got yellow, and we're starting with Blade of the Truth. Blade of the Truth costs 2. And it says main, trigger, draw 1 card for every 2 security cards you have. So yellow likes to play with security, and being able to just draw a card for every 2 in your security, which means for 2 cost, at the start of your turn, you could be drawing 2 cards. So, you know, this card's pretty decent. You can also, it also activates insecurity, so you're going to be drawing a lot just by having insecurity. However, when this card does remove itself from security, you are going to be drawing less, which is kind of ironic, but but I mean, whatever. It's a decent card, I'd say. Artwork is really cool. But yeah, nothing too special about this card. Here's Testament. It's a 3 cost. It says main. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, one of your Digimon gains blocker. And then also in security trigger, draw 1 card and then add this card to your hand. So it's a decent card. You're giving someone blocker, which yellow doesn't have too much access to. And then in security, you're also drawing a card and adding it to your hand. So it's almost like a +2. So yeah, I don't think I'd run this card. It doesn't seem that great. It's expensive just to give your guy a blocker. It's not worth it. Here we have Golden Ripper. It's a 3 cost. It says main. All your Digimon gain the following effect for the turn. When attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2,000 DP for the turn. Honestly, this card isn't bad, but it's also just not amazing. You're not going to really be relying on this. You're probably going to run one of this, and when you have a big wide board, you play it, and then you start swinging and killing all of your opponent's Digimon while deleting their security. But at that point, you're probably just going to be going for game anyway, so why even bother relying on this? So yeah, it's okay. Almost bad, even. No security effect either. Next, we have Blast Fire. It's a 4 cost, and it says main. Change the original DP of one of your opponent's Digimon to 3000 until the end of your opponent's next turn. I think this card would actually be pretty good if it activated Insecurity. Make it cost like 2, activate Insecurity, and I think this card would actually be pretty good. It just costs too much, and it's so situational. You're gonna pay 4 memory to make your opponent's Digimon cheap, which probably means your turn's going to end, and now they just have a 3000 Omnimon. Like, by the time you can do anything, it's gonna be 15k again. Yeah, this card sucks. I don't think it's worth running. So here we have Symphony number 1, Polyphony. It's a 5 cost, and it says, main, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7000 DP for the turn. No security effect either. So yeah, this card just sucks. I don't think it's good. You get Slash Angemon in this set that lets you activate just by Digivolving. You're not gonna pay 5 memory to get minus 7k on a Digimon. You're likely not going to kill something that's important. And if you're going to hit something important, it's not going to die from this effect. This card's just not good. Just don't run it. Run Slash Angemon instead. So here is actually a good yellow card. It costs 6 and it says main, trigger, recovery 1. Also Insecurity, it says activate main effect. So if your opponent hits this Insecurity, you're just going to recover 1. I've seen plays where 3 Holy Waves were revealed in the security all at once. It was so stupid. So this card's really good. It costs 6 to play, you're just recovering 1, and in security it actually activates, which is really, really good. It's a security bomb that recovers itself. It's really nice. Here's this really, really nice alternate art. It's really cool. Got some War Growlmon right there. I love this card. It looks really nice. It looks really nice. And last but not least, we have our green option cards. So we're starting with Hornbuster, and Hornbuster costs 1 and it says main. One of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn. It also has a security effect that says suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then add this card to your owner's hand. This card's actually pretty good. You pay 1 to buff your Grand Kawagamon to just swing over Omnimon and kill him. And then if this is popped in the security, you can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon to potentially save yourself for the turn, and you add this card to your hand. Overall, I think Hornbuster was pretty solid for BT1, but outside of BT1 and maybe outside of like BT2 and 3 even, this card just is not worth running anymore. Alternate art looks really cool. Hornbuster! Next we have Smashed Potatoes. This is a 2 cost. It says main, for the turn, the next time you would Digivolve one of your green Digimon from level 5 to level 6, decrease the Digivolution cost by 4. So early HPD, this is pretty solid. You're paying 2 to essentially Digivolve a level 5 into a level 6. In BT1 alone, this card really wasn't as helpful because a lot of green level 6s were just cheap to Digivolve into. Not many cost 4 to Digivolve into. And a lot of the good ones Digivolved for 2 anyway. So, I mean, Smash Potatoes was a great card, but it wasn't fully utilized until later. But then, a better version of this did come out. And while it's limited, it's still better and you're just going to run it over this card anyway. Next we have Flower Cannon. It's a 2 cost and it says main, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. And then it's a security effect says suspend all of your opponent's Digimon without blocker. So, you know, it's a pretty solid card for the time. It did the work, it did what it needed to do. It allowed you to suspend your opponent's Digimon and then swing over them. The only reason this card was dropped is because a better version of it did end up coming out. Here's Giga Blaster. It costs 3 and it says main, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 5000 DP or less. Then it has a security effect that just says activate this card's main effect. It was a decent card. Cards that give you options is pretty nice. Being able to suspend one of your opponent's big Digimon is pretty solid. And being able to suspend 2 of your opponent's like weaker Digimon is pretty solid. And only for 3 costs. I mean, it's not a bad card. And Insecurity, being able to activate the main effect is pretty decent. But you're not going to be running like 4 of him. You're going to be running maybe 1, maybe 2 in your deck. There's Hercules Kabuterimon going to town like a boss. So, you know, not a bad card, not an amazing card. Here we have Dimensional Scissors. It costs 3 and it says main. One of your Digimon gains the following effect for the turn. When this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon and survives in battle, unsuspend it. And its security effect adds it to its owner's hand. This card is really, really interesting. Being able to basically just swing infinitely as long as you can kill a Digimon and just wipe a board is really cool in concept. Now, this card I know doesn't get too much play. You still have to be able to have the effect to swing into their unsuspended Digimon or rely on your opponent to have suspended Digimon. And I think over time this card will just get better and better. But in BT1, I don't think it was the greatest. And it was just really situational. There wasn't too many ways for green to just swing over Digimon. So overall, I think it's a pretty good card, but I think it was more just ahead of its time. And last but not least, we have Forbidden Temptation. It costs 4, and it says main. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, one of your opponent's Digimon can't attack or block. And then security effect says your opponent's Digimon don't unsuspend during their next unsuspend phase. So this card is actually really good. The only thing that's holding it back is that it costs 4. That's the only thing. It's the only reason you don't see it get played. The security effect is really good, and being able to just stun a Digimon is really powerful. But it costs 4. You're only targeting one Digimon, and it costs 4. That's its biggest downside. Other than all of that, I think this is a really good card. Too bad it costs too much, so it's actually not a good card. And now we're going into our secrets. And when it comes to this set, BT1, the secrets are what I'm missing the most of. Right now, I just have one Metal Greymon, not even his alternate art, but you know, I got him. So anyway, he costs 8 to play, 3 to Digivolve, he has 9,000 DP, so he has Security Attack +2, and then when attacking, lose 5 memory. Then his inheritance says, this Digimon gains plus 3,000 DP. So as of right now, this card only really has one place to play, and that is Machine Dramon. Losing 5 memory is just insane. If this card was printed today, I don't think it would have any losing memory stuff. It would straight up just be Security Attack +2. It would just cost like 4 to Digivolve. But hey, he's a really cool secret. His alternate art is really cool. I don't have it, so I can't show you it. I'm sorry. Stay tuned and keep watching, because I will get it eventually. So yeah, my opinion on Greymon is he's really cool Digimon card. As a card though, he sucks. I put him in my Machine Dramon deck, because getting plus 3,000 DP is pretty nice. Other than that, he just doesn't have a place right now. Losing 5 memory is just too expensive. You can already do so much security damage without paying any memory. So yeah, Metal Greymon, I mean, for the first secret rare in Digimon, I'm going to say he's good. He's a good secret rare. You're just not going to be swinging with him. And next, we have Vidramon. Vidramon's blue. Costs 6 to play, 3 to Digivolve. He has 6,000 DP. And he says, when attacking once per turn, if you have a Tamer in play, unsuspend this Digimon. And then his inheritance says, all turns, while you have a blue Tamer in play, this Digimon gets plus 1,000 DP. I think this card's pretty good. Being able to just unsuspend and swing again is a really solid ability. You're probably going to have a Tamer out anyway. And over time, I think with more Vidramon support, this card will just get better and better. Art looks really nice. He's hanging out in the digital world doing his thing. And here's his alternate art, which looks really nice. Just a solid card. I really do think there's a place for Vidramon. And that might not be today, and it might not be tomorrow. It might not be in a year from now. It might be 10 years from now. I don't know if Digimon will live that long. I don't know if the card game will live that long. But I do think eventually Vidramon will get the support it needs to really shine. I hope so, at least. I really like this card. So that is BT1, New Evolution. The first set in the new Digimon card game. I think they did a really good job. I think that they were able to create a really good card game. And they're able to take those concepts and really develop a solid first set for it. There's some really good cards in this set that still get played to this day. And of course, there's going to be a lot of stinkers too. But I mean, that's just how it is with every card game. And with Digimon, I think we're really lucky to have some solid bangers that are still being used to this day. It's got solid Tamers. There's some solid Digimon still in the set too. It's got some really incredible and gorgeous collector's pieces. It's got cards that still shine in new archetypes. And it's got fan favorites that are still relevant to this day. Overall, I think BT1 is a really magical Digimon set. In the future, I do hope to open a 1.0 box, and I do hope to open a Japanese BT1 box. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on all those fun videos that will be coming in the future. BT1 I think is a really solid set. It's an incredible set. You should all be investing in this right now so you have a complete set. For all we know, this could become a chase set for collectors in the future. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I'd love it if you could subscribe, like the video, comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the set. Let me know what your favorite card is, your favorite alternate art, your favorite Digimon in the set. I would love to know all those things. Of course, this is my favorite card in the entire set, and it might just be my favorite card in all of Digimon so far. It's raining Digimon cards!